Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another brand new episode of Mornings with the Outlaw. It's the Monday edition of Mornings with the Outlaw here with me, the Outlaw John Rocha, and my co-host, the lovely Alex Shashek. How are you, Alex? What's going on there?
I'm feeling spicy this morning because I'm eating spicy guacamole that is actually spicy, which is a revelation to me.
It's kicking your ass from what you said.
It shouldn't be. Like I've had spicy guacamole and I'm like, this is nothing, obviously.
Right.
I'm Thai, so this is not like a thing, but I'm eating this and I'm like, why is this like a thing right now? Like, why am I almost crying at 10:30 in the morning? But sometimes I don't know where they just kick you right in the tuchus. So
yeah, it's like life. You just never know. You pick up something that does say spicy, and you think to yourself, "Oh, I can handle this." Then you start tasting it, and you really can't handle it. Your eyes are watering. And also, Alex, I mean, you just had a birthday, right? So maybe your body is, as you're getting older, can't hold out like it used to. Mm-hmm. These are things you're gonna have to get used to, Alex. I hate to break it to you.
I'm not going to acknowledge that comment, so we're just going to go and move on to the stories today. Okay, how dare you?
All right, I apologize.
How dare you?
Right. How dare I? You're right.
How dare you? No, rude.
So rude. So rude. But yes, so yeah, definitely a lot to handle today, a lot to get into today. There's so many stories that broke over the weekend, so many things we can jump into. Some people already on the chat talking about the new trailer for Lucifer that Netflix dropped their season 5. I'm not a watcher of Lucifer, or else we would have totally covered it. Mm-hmm. So it's not something that I necessarily jump into. Do you watch Lucifer? Is that one that's on your list of things that you enjoy?
I've seen a few episodes personally, but I haven't seen entire seasons. I have some friends that are like obsessed with the show,
gotcha.
But I never got into it personally. But I think it's awesome that it's like one of those rare shows that it went away and due to popular demand, it came back.
Yeah.
And now more than ever, where there's so much content. Wow.
Yeah, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and a couple other ones that have really the fan base kind of brought this thing back. So yeah. So anyway, if you're enjoying the trailer, congratulations. Hope you're enjoying the trailer, and we'll get into that maybe down the road here on the Outlaw Nation. But for right now, it's not one we're jumping into just yet. But I will say this: we have to start. I think we have to start in a kind of a little bit of a sad place this morning. It broke last night. The lovely Kelly Preston had passed away. She passed away from breast cancer. She was 57 years old, never looked her age. Incredibly beautiful, always from the beginning. I remember watching her in the first film in the 80s, Mischief, and she became one of my biggest crushes through the 80s. It was basically her and Elizabeth Shue competing for a crush. When you're a young kid, you look at these women on screen and you just have a crush. That's all. It's innocent. And John Travolta issued a very beautiful statement. He said, "It is with a very heavy heart that I inform you that my beautiful wife Kelly has lost her 2-year battle with breast cancer. She fought a courageous fight with the love and support of so many. My family and I will forever be grateful to her doctors and nurses at MD Anderson Cancer Center, all the medical centers that have helped, as well as her many friends and loved ones who have been by her side." She chose to keep her fight private, Alex. She had been undergoing medical treatment for some time, supported by her closest family and friends, but it wasn't a big deal. Not a lot of people were talking about it. It wasn't mentioned. I don't recall it being reported anywhere. So this is a bit of a surprise. For those of you who may not be that familiar, let me jog your memory about her. She was in Jerry Maguire. Remember, she's the one she looks at Jerry and goes, "You are not a loser."
She doesn't cry.
She doesn't cry.
Yeah, she doesn't cry like watching Titanic or any sappy rom-coms or anything along those lines or dramas. She's like, right. It's something that she almost takes pride in. It's kind of like that movie The Holiday where she doesn't cry. Sorry, random correlation.
For you 80s kids, you saw her in Space Camp and Twins. She was in Jack Frost. She was in For Love of the Game, View from the Top. Some of you might even remember from Cat in the Hat, for God's sakes. She recently, she started with Travolta in a few films like The Experts. That's where they met in 1989. Battlefield Earth, Old Dogs, and recently in that terrible film Gotti, she played Gotti's wife. Of course, Travolta playing Gotti, John Gotti himself. She was born in Honolulu, Hawaii in 1962. She studied at USC Did a bunch of bit parts, then broke through with a season regular role in For Love and Honor, which only lasted for a season. And then she got Mischief, which is one of those forgotten 80s films that a lot of us who lived through that time, if we saw it, will always remember it because she's absolutely beautiful in that film. And then what she goes on to do as an actress. All reports about her were always that she was a very sweet person, very loving person, very caring person, very fun person to be around. If you watch her in interviews, incredibly a jovial, big ray of light coming out of her. So it's truly a sad loss. But you have to ask yourself, like, it wasn't publicized. It wasn't a big deal. It's interesting how they kept this under wraps because most of the time when people get diagnosed, someone lets it slip. So this was pretty shocking and sad to read as well. On the heels of 2020 already being a shit year, this is a pretty sad one to get. What's your experience with Kelly Preston, Alex?
The first movie where I really acknowledged her, I acknowledged who we was, or I recognized her as an actress, was definitely Jerry Maguire. I just remember being like, I just recognize her face, and I don't know where from or why. But it was that movie, and I used to love that movie, and then I rewatched the movie as an adult, and I was like, that movie's kind of really sad now. But that's I feel like that's a whole conversation. But also another movie that I remember really loving with her, like watching it pretty consistently, was actually Sky High. It just it came out like when I was like in early high school, late middle school, that kind of thing. And I was just like, it just kind of is, it's like about a bunch of kids that are like just discovering their powers. They're going through puberty. Are they good? Are they evil? Are they sidekicks? Are they main superheroes? And, so it's a really fun process, especially in light of, all the superhero movies and everything we have now, which is really great. But at the same time, she was so much fun. She plays, I believe, the main character's mom, and she's just like always like a ball of energy, a ball of light, such a positive character. And I've never heard anything bad about her. I've only heard, like you said, she's positive. She's so much fun. She's a very lighthearted person. And so very sad to hear this.
It's a shame to lose her. She's a fantastic actress. So we all enjoy. Yeah, she never hit the A-list status of being nominated for an Oscar or being pursued necessarily. But whenever she was in anything, you were always happy to see her pop up, and she always delivered a nice delicateness to whatever role she was in, even when she was the evil girlfriend in Jerry Maguire. And I suspect there's way more scenes with her that were cut out of that movie because that role seemed just a little bit underwritten for what was actually happening. So I think there's probably more scenes with her like just totally giving Tom Cruise the business, which would have been fun to watch. So and of course they suffered a tragedy with their own son Jet dying a few years ago as well. So this is certainly a very tough time for John Travolta and his family. But we as a show sent him our thoughts and comforts and prayers for this time. And, it's never easy losing a partner you've been with for quite some time, for numerous decades. So hopefully, especially the cancer. So hopefully, that step by step, little by little, they soldier on. But dealing with it for 2 years, I'm sure they were preparing for the worst. And sadly, that did come to pass. So please let us know in your comments, like what your memories of Kelly Preston are. Leave some super chats, some Streamlabs, send in some stuff and let us know what you think about her as an actress and what your memories of her are or tributes. We did have a Streamlab that came through and one super chat that came through as well. Andrew G donated. He said thousands of more cases of COVID coming out of Florida over the weekend. But hey, Disney World's open, everybody. Hope you all had a safe weekend, Rocha, Alex, and the rest of the Outlaw Nation. Don't forget to wear your masks out there, everybody. Yeah, Alex, 15,000 cases in Florida. My God, it's insane. And then Disneyland releases that commercial about coming home and everybody's wearing a mask. And I'm so confused because I know people love Disneyland. I'm not sure where you're at on it, but like, is anything like that worth your life, risking your life? And I'm not saying you need to shut those things down because, people need to work and pay their bills. But overall, this is just a sad situation, don't you think?
It's a really sucky situation where people...
Yes, sucky, yes.
Yeah, it's a really, it's obviously stupid, but at the end of the day, people are having the conversation where I have to risk my life, my health in order to pay my bills because... because I know some people that are risking losing their businesses, that are like risking losing their clients, and and just their livelihood because they can't work, because they don't have that safety net, and it's if you work for a big corporation and that's really cool about it, that's awesome. But that's very, very rare. Also. Yes. My brother is actually on a bachelor party in Tampa.
Right now?
Yeah, literally. So I just remember being like, I remember I called him because he lives here in St. Louis. He met up with his friends over in Tampa, and they're like, no, we're just gonna try to keep it really low key. And I'm like, seriously, of all flippin' times, are you kidding? And they're like, well, we've been planning this for a while, and I'm like, I don't care if this has been in the making for 5 years. Like, no, go somewhere else, go get an Airbnb at someone's house or something. Yeah. But they're like, no, let's go to Tampa, and I'm like, you flippin' idiots. And I say that with love because like he's for like the guy that's getting married is a friend of mine and everything, and they're cool guys, but I'm like, fucking idiots. Are you serious?
You graduated from awful. You graduated from flipping to effing. I got it.
That's how intense it is. These are smart guys. They went to like physics and like account management and stuff. And they're like, man, let's go. Yes,
It's that belief that you can't be touched. It is pervasive. I saw it over the weekend as well, many times driving through Los Angeles again, like people just not wearing masks. I almost want to roll down the window and yell, but why start some drama? People get nuts. We saw in Paris, or I don't know if anybody noticed, I think it was Paris or in France, a bus driver was killed by these right-wing people who were mad that that he asked them to wear masks and told them to wear. They couldn't. They had to get off the bus because they were taking off their masks. And then they attacked him and they beat him to death. So this kind of stuff is just. It's a shame how much madness this is bringing. It's just a simple piece of cloth, and people are turning it into some kind of right to live. And I just don't get it. I just don't get it. It's a shame. It's a damn shame.
People just don't like being told what to do.
I guess.
But at the end of the day, it's just especially here in the U.S. But I mean, like just in general, and it's at the end of the day, I feel like people really need to put in perspective. Like it's not about you.
Yeah, it's not.
This is not meant to like as if there's like this weird hidden message behind it.
Yeah.
No, it's people are literally dying and But regardless,
because we have a show to do. Let's move on. Thank you, Andrew G, for that stream. Ryan Payne setting in. Thank you, Ryan, with a big super chat here. I like the movie Constantine. Lucifer is a successful comic book adaptation that doesn't adhere to its origins, but honors the story. It comes from giving a story that can attract new fans to the material. I say give it a shot. Okay, Ryan, thank you very much. I know one of my favorite actresses, blonde, Rachel Harris, I think that's her name. She is, the one in The Hangover. She's the mean girlfriend in The Hangover, Fred Helms. She's very funny. She's done a bunch of things. So and so I know she's a big part of Lucifer. So that may be the thing that puts me over the top as well. Plus, Lucifer, I think, is connected to the Hellblazer world, the John Constantine world. So to see that come to life might be interesting. So thank you, Ryan, for the suggestion. Definitely. And don't forget, those are Streamlabs Super Chats. You can send them in at any time. Any questions you want to ask us about what we're talking about or what's going on in the world of entertainment, or even as Andrew G just pointed out, what's going on in our world with the masks, feel free to send them in. Let's move on to our first news story here, Alex, other than, of course, the Kelly Preston passing, and that is the Batman TV series here that was announced over on Friday there by Matt Reeves and Terence Winter. According to Justin Kroll over at Variety, and I know Justin knows a lot about this kind of stuff. He does get all the insider scoop with big stories that happen around in Hollywood. He said it is. He stated on Twitter that it is currently being described as an adaptation of the Gotham Central comics, but will be set before when the Batman is set and dive into how Gotham became corrupt and infested with criminals. Speculation here is that enlisting Terence Winter, who did Boardwalk Empire, it implies that they might be doing a bit of a period piece. He also said that he does not know if Robert Pattinson will make an appearance and that they will probably be dropping more details about this TV series during DC Fandom or DC Fan Doomy that is happening in August here from DC. So, Alex, thoughts about this? We did just have Gotham for any number of seasons on Fox, but this idea that they're doing a prequel yet again before the Batman comes into this situation. I mean, in Gotham, you had a young Bruce Wayne, 11 years old, 10 years old, whatever, so you got to see the progression. But in this situation, this could be a time period piece. So would you want to see Gotham like in the 50s, Gotham in the 40s, Gotham in the 20s even? Like, would this have any interest? Because we wouldn't necessarily see the Joker or the Penguin or the Riddler or Scarecrow. We might see Ra's al Ghul as he's timeless, but there aren't a lot of Batman villains that are necessarily around in the earlier times when Batman isn't around. So would you want to see something like this?
It's definitely not the Gotham that we recognize. One of the great things I loved about Batman the Animated Series, it's a feeling of Gotham and this kind of Art Deco, weird 40s, 50s vibe situation. So if they're going to go in that direction, I kind of like that kind of, like I said, this Art Deco kind of situation, which I would appreciate. But also, this is, like you said, Gotham Central. I really like the idea of, really honing in, talking about a really weird transitional time for this, precinct, for Gotham City, which, becomes this hugely corrupt place. But do we need a fictional cop show right now about corrupt corrupt cops? Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and that's not about corrupt cops. It's about lighthearted, good cops and everything. That is like being put on hiatus until they're comfortable coming back. Cops was canceled. You know, a lot of shows that are really kind of focusing from the point of view of cops are really being being put on hiatus or just canceled outright. So I don't know if we really need to talk about Gotham City and its transition from how it started off as a cool city to suddenly, little by little, it's becoming much more corrupt in this kind of fictional world. I don't know if we need it right now more than ever.
I think that's a fantastic point, Alex. Absolutely fantastic point. Like, do we really want to connect to the cops, especially when Gotham literally stands in for New York? Do we really want to kind of incur that or subtly have references to that stuff throughout this series? Will that be a positive that will be received well from the fans? Will the fans be excited about this, or will they actually have the guts to tackle some of the stuff that's been happening and occurring in our modern world? Because they didn't just start, killing black men and women, this year or the last few years. This has been going on systematically for decades in this country and in other countries. So you ask yourself, well, if you do this a period piece, will you address the the topical issues that are topical for every decade that this has been going on? So I wonder if they'll do that. And I wonder, like you said, if there's a public for it. Will a public be interested in this? I think it's a fantastic point. Sorry. Will you have minorities? Will you have, how many minorities were cops in Gotham back in the 40s or 50s? Like, will you have that kind of, I'm watching Perry Mason now, and there's one black cop that is in the show, and it's set, I think, in the 40s, sometime right after it's actually the 30s, and he's having a really hard time negotiating the police department because of all the racism. So are we going to deal with that? So it's a good question. It could be a good thing, but it could also be a thing that feels tone deaf for what's going on in our world right now.
Yeah, also tone deaf as well. And as of now, we haven't heard any, as far as I can remember, we haven't really heard any confirmations of people of color participating in front of the camera or behind the camera. True. The people that are directly involved, like Matt Reeves. I love Matt Reeves. But as far as I know, the only people involved are white men.
Matt Reeves, Terence Winter, two white guys.
And so again, great people that I have a lot of confidence in, but do we need this right now? I don't know. If it was like from the point of view of oh my gosh, what's his name? That's playing Commissioner Gordon.
Jeffrey Wright.
So if it's going to be from the point of view of Jeffrey Wright as a black police officer, like you said, at that point and everything, I would be like, okay, I'm a little more curious. I'm pretty more excited, but that's not a confirmation. We were talking about just the other day how we would be lucky if it was going to be a cameo. So it's a great, actually, Jeffrey Wright playing Jim Gordon in Batman Year One. Just transfers over to Gotham, has to deal with the corruption in Gotham. Some of you who've read it, you remember Detective Flass, who is the guy he has to essentially beat up eventually to become what it needs to become and stop the corruption. Will they do that through the lens of a black cop? That actually is very, very interesting. But once again, why do you have a white showrunner involved trying to show you what a black person might be thinking? You better find a black assistant showrunner or co-showrunner who will absolutely be able to show you and tell you and touch base and connect with that experience in a very visceral, primal level. I think that's really important to have there too. So we'll see. I like the idea of them doing something that isn't Gotham, but you gotta make it modern. You gotta modern in the sense of like it's gotta feel relatable and universal. You can set it where you want, but it's gotta feel universal, and you gotta tackle these issues head on. And don't tackle these issues with the feeling of helplessness. Tackle these issues with actually solutions and resolutions. We've seen enough shows
where the black guy or the black woman has to deal with the racism and somehow rise above. We've seen that already. Do something else with it. Do something new with it. That's what we'd like to see, honestly speaking, at least speaking for myself. All right, we'll see. Well, more announcements coming, I'm sure. And like I said, the August Fandom DC thing that's happening on August 22nd, I think it is 24 hours there. I'm sure there'll be details popping up. We got a couple of super chats have come through here. Daniel Haygood says, truly not on board for another police drama, RN. What are they thinking at WB? There you go, Daniel. Yeah, it's a fair point.
Yeah. Well, they're thinking Matt Reeves, awesome creator. They're thinking they're almost positioning Matt Reeves to be in this. I don't want to say affecting Kevin Feige situation, but they're kind of they're putting him in the situation where he's overseeing multiple projects, within this world for WB, which I think is incredibly smart given how great he did, with the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, film. Absolutely. So I have every confidence in him. It's just like you said, TV show with this context, I don't know. And at the end of the day, it's literally there is, it is also a show that focuses on literally a white hero, a white hero, true, literally swooping in, right,
we'll see. And GCPD, the series I collected for the first 2 to 3 years that series was out, that was a very diverse group of detectives, black, Latina, white. It was all mixed in, trying to figure out the city, just like New York. A very diverse situation. But if you go back in time, if this becomes a period piece, I don't think that's as possible as it would be setting it during modern times. So I'll be very curious to see how they handle this, because as Alex pointed out here a few minutes ago, there's a minefield all over this thing. So can they walk through it without blowing off their feet? We shall see. We've got a super chat that came in from Dr. Nitrogen's Musical Empire, maybe one of the best names I've ever seen.
That's fantastic. A great one, yeah.
Hi, John and Alex. I bought DC and Marvel heroes and psychedelic Mexican skulls printed fabrics that my mom has been making into masks. Masks can be fun, too. Absolutely. Yes. Alex, is your mom making these? Because if your mom is making these, I'm sorry. Dr. Nitrogen's Musical Empire.
That's not mine.
Yeah, right. If your mom is actually making these, I tell you what, if she's willing to send me some, I will absolutely wear a couple on any of the shows just to highlight her business or highlight her thing. I mean, if I can request a Batman one or a Superman one, maybe even a Dark Knight Returns version of one, I would absolutely love it. Or even a luchador mask, one of the famous luchador masks like Jen Decker has been wearing. Those are fantastic. So if your mom's up for it, I will happily send you a P.O. box you can send stuff to. So, but that's awesome. Shout out to your mom and shout out to you for wearing the masks. Masks can be fun. Certainly. I saw a great meme the other day of all these kids wearing their Hollywood Halloween masks. And it says, what does it say? It says, that generation now they're upset about wearing masks because they had no problem wearing them during Halloween and being different characters. I think that's a fair point. All right. We got over 160 of you are watching us live. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Outlaw Nation show. On the Outlaw Nation rather, and on Mornings with the Outlaw, but we only have 68 likes. Please get us over 100 likes. Start swing that mouse over there. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's get over 100 likes. Let's get up to 150 likes by the time we end this show around 9:45. So give us some love in that, and keep sending in your Streamlabs and your super chats. We did have one Streamlab that came through from Tavishka. Hey, Tavishka, good to see you, man. It says, morning, gang. John, not everyone can send in questions at any time. Worked blocks some of the PayPal process. Oh, I haven't been able to send from work computer for the last few days. They are on to me. Only a matter of time. I must go into hiding. Stay golden. All right, Tavishka, be careful, my man. Do your thing. Sending your love, though. Ben Rayner, he donated. He said, hey, guys, happy Monday. I am nervous about this GCPD show on HBO Max. I watched the first season of Gotham, didn't like it. That was advertised as a, quote, Jim Gordon show, but that turned out to be a Batman prequel. I hope that doesn't happen with this. Yeah, Alex, I don't know how much you paid attention to Gotham or watched Gotham, but
dude, I love Gotham.
You did?
I won't fight anyone about Gotham.
All right, let's get through it then. Let's go through it then, because Gotham did start out initially as the Jim Gordon show. The actor who was playing, who was that guy who was playing Jim Gordon? The guy from the OC.
Something McKenzie.
Yeah.
Like
Ben
William
McKenzie.
Ben
Ben
McKenzie,
McKenzie,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
He was playing James Gordon. You had Donald Logue as his kind of partner, and then them trying to figure it out. But then, of course, the fans started chiming in, and they were upset with the actress who was playing Barbara Gordon. They didn't think she was that good. They were arguing about storylines, so they turned her into the Joker. And then they had all these other storylines, and then you brought in Penguin, which was great. The Penguin was great from the beginning. That actor was fantastic. Yeah. And then you bring in the Riddler. You bring in is he or is he not the Joker? Is she or she becomes Poison Ivy or something? But the other guy, is he or is he not the Joker? All of that stuff. It just kind of lost its way after a while. And then people were clamoring for a Bruce Wayne, for a Batman. So they accelerated that kid's growth to where he starts becoming a young Batman. You have the Catwoman actress as well. She was doing well. She doesn't speak too fondly about the experience. So a lot involved here that they kind of just lost their way, or they were jumping around trying to figure out what worked. And there wasn't a real strong, powerful through line throughout. So you certainly don't want that to happen again with this version, don't you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, when we talk about Gotham, it was very popular when it did go on initially. Now, when we, like I mentioned, when it comes to Gotham, there's so many different versions of Gotham we have out there. And, yeah. And what I do love about it is not only the freedom the writers had to get really experimental with the characters, yeah, and different plot points. And I swear, there's so many Easter eggs from episode 1, and I appreciate the richness and the dedication not only the actors but the writers have. I mean, the writers had their own fan group.
Yeah. Oh, right.
How many other TV shows, especially for these, I mean, are the shows considered panned? But do the writers actually have their own fan group? Like, that's insane. But also, when I watch the show, do I think it's like the best show ever made? No. When I watch it, I watch it like knowing it's campy, it's ridiculous, it's a fun time, it's colorful and beautiful and fun. But also, I have a lot of friends that actually don't like Gotham, but one of their favorite episodes when it comes to anything Batman or Gotham City related, there's one episode specifically with the Harley Quinn and Joker situation where they're like, now that is Joker. Right. So even if you don't like the show overall, that's totally fine. I get it. But I really appreciate what it's trying to do and get experimental with some of these characters and, the evolution of Bruce Wayne's, character and his relationship with Alfred, especially.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's certainly something to think about, and hopefully, like I said, we'll get more details and what have you, but already people are kind of hesitant or kind of worried about what this show could turn into. So, like I said, a lot of minefield. It's a minefield, certainly making this show at this time. So we'll see how it all plays out. All right, we're up to 89 likes. Get us to 100 likes, then on to 150 likes. Come on, people. March this thing along. Maybe our next story will get you excited and get you to hit that like button. Don't forget to keep sending in your Streamlabs and your Super Chats. It keeps the lights on here in Outlaw Nation. We crossed the 6-month anniversary. We want to keep going. So put it together. Help us get through the next 6 months with your help and with your support. Tron 3, Alex, it looks like there's rumors that this thing is actually happening. If people remember, Tron Legacy came out about 10 years ago. It made $400 million worldwide, but the budget was $170 million. So didn't make that much money when you factor all that in. There have been a lot of rumors about a third film. It's been kind of going back and forth. There was supposed to be a Disney Plus was supposed to have a Tron TV series that was led by John Ridley, but that project was canceled. Then there was talk about a film coming out here, possibly that they were working on. A Insider report claimed that a new Tron film with Jared Leto was still in the works. Of course, that rumor has been going around since 2017 that Jared Leto might be involved here. But the playlist independently confirmed a Tron project was being shopped to potential directors this past spring. Then Mitchell Lee, the president of music and soundtracks at Disney, was on the Light the Fuse podcast and suggested that things are moving faster and moving along faster than expected. That includes the fact that Daft Punk is in preliminary discussions to return for the third film to do the soundtrack. He said, we're looking at making a sequel to Tron now. We're looking at Tron 3, and we've got a great script. I mean, a really phenomenal script that we're very excited about. Whereas the timing wasn't right to have done it years ago, I think we feel like the timing is right now. And there's rumors that the Kaczynski is a guy they want back, Joseph Kaczynski, who directed Tron Legacy. He directed Tom Cruise in Oblivion. He's directing Tom Cruise in Top Gun Maverick. They're talking about bringing him back, and he said in April in an interview with comicbook.com, there's always been an interest for Legacy for a sequel. There's always been talk and murmuring of doing another and continuing the story. I think it's still a nice jewel in the crown of Disney IP, and I think there are fans and people petitioning and pushing to continue it inside the halls of Disney. Like anything, it just needs the right confluence of events. It's all about timing and the right elements for all of it to come. Also, let me throw something else out to you, Alex. It seems like this is building up because in 2021 in Shanghai Disneyland, the Tron Light Cycle Power Run is supposed to debut there in the Tomorrowland section of the park. If anything is going to get me go to Shanghai Disney, it's certainly a Tron Light Cycle Power Run. So do you see that this does this feel like this is happening finally, or like are you excited about a Tron 3? Were you a fan of the other two movies? What's your thoughts on all of this?
I'm more surprised you said nothing's going to get me over to Shanghai except for this ride at Tomorrowland. Like, would you turn down a trip to Shanghai? Like, what?
I said specifically Shanghai Disneyland, not Shanghai the city. I said specifically Shanghai.
So you would turn down if it wasn't for this, you'd totally turn it down.
Well, Disneyland, yeah, I probably would. Yes, yeah.
Interesting.
But not the city. But not the city.
Wow. So wrong. Okay, so I feel very iffy on this. I remember watching the very first Tron movie. I think when was it released? Like what, 87?
82.
Oh wow, 82. Yeah.
I think.
And I remember thinking it was a flippin' revelation. It was so cool. It was so weird, and I loved it. It was so I've never seen a movie like it, visually speaking. And I actually was one of the few people that really enjoyed the next Tron with like Olivia Wilde and Jeff Bridges and everything. Obviously, it wasn't great by any means. There's aspects that what Ridley wasn't a fan of, but I just thought it was a real fun time. And so I don't feel like it deserved the flack that it really received. But going into this, a potential third one, I want a new director.
Yeah.
I want some new actors. Keep Daft Punk, for the life of God. Please keep Daft Punk. They were like the same grace of that movie. There's like, no one cares. Like a lot of people don't care about that movie, and that's totally fine. That's neither here or there, but everyone loves that album. The score is phenomenal. And I just, Jared Leto, I'm like really iffy on him right now. He's such like his weird cult situation on a random island, and he's just doing a lot of that, and the whole thing with the Joker, and he's just kind of a weird guy right now in Hollywood. So Tron sequel, cool. Daft Punk, yes. Jared Leto, get out of here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And just to correct myself, it is already at Shanghai Disneyland. It's coming to Walt Disney World in 2021. Sorry about that. The Tron Light Cycle Power Run. Sometimes sometimes I don't get it always right. So that's the thing. So Shanghai Disneyland already has that ride. So I guess I'll be going to Shanghai Disneyland sometime whenever they open it back up and we're done with this coronavirus thing. Maybe I'll fly over there and take a chance on that Light Cycle Power Run. Because Lord knows, once it opens at Walt Disney World, it's going to take 6 months for you to get in and take a chance on that thing. Like we saw with the Star Wars land. It can get crazy. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, like a Jared Leto does not spark that much interest in, like in Blade Runner 2049, not really a big part of getting your butts into the seats to see him. He was okay. He did win that Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club. But yeah, there were a lot of terrible rumors coming out of Suicide Squad of the way he sent thing like dead fishes or black roses or rats, to cast members. And I was like, pal, it's just a role. Calm it down. Like Heath Ledger went in and secluded himself into a hotel room for weeks. Didn't mess with anybody. Didn't try to do anything weird to people. Didn't send gifts. He just had his own process. Now, I get Jared Leto has his own process, and I'm always a fan of actors doing their own thing and doing their own process as long as it doesn't infringe on other actors and their process. And I think that's where Jared Leto maybe kind of crossed the line here doing stupid things like this. Now, if you put him into a Tron situation, I don't think you're going to get dead rats or anything like that. He'll be fine sliding into that. But does this person excite you to go see a Tron 3 movie? And I have to say, no, it doesn't excite me at all. So I'm in the camp with you, Alex. I'd like to see something newer, or an actor who's a little bit newer, a little more interesting. And look, Gary Hedlund is a good actor, certainly, but wasn't that interesting in the role in Tron Legacy. And I like Tron Legacy, cinematography wise, soundtrack wise. I liked Olivia Wilde. Hell, maybe Olivia Wilde could direct this thing. That would be interesting as hell. I liked most of what Jeff Bridges did. Some of that kind of Lebowski stuff got on my nerves in the film, but overall would be interesting to see what they do as the next level type thing. But I'd like to see new people involved. Does it have to be a Flynn situation? So I'm curious. But I love Tron. I love Tron Uprising, the animated series. If people haven't seen that, definitely go watch that. So I'd like to see more from this world. I just want it in capable hands, and we'll see if maybe this is a thing that will come to fruition in light of promotion for the Light Cycle attraction coming to Walt Disney World next year. We'll see.
Totally. I would love to get just a fresh new perspective. You know, it's so far it's just been like a guy goes in, freaks out, something bad happens. You know, obviously I feel like that's the plot for 99.9% of Hollywood movies in general.
True.
But you know, for Tron, it's actually Tron the sequel actually goes in with his son. You know, somehow rescuing his dad.
Yeah.
Essentially. So I would like something new. But thing is, I would love Cillian Murphy. He came back.
Cillian Murphy is a great choice.
Cillian Murphy. I love Cillian Murphy. Oh, I just want more of him in everything. Just put him in everything.
Yeah.
He's fabulous. Just give him all the money, all the roles. I also am one of the few people that actually like Garrett Hedlund. I really do. Okay. I really loved him. I know the movie's not great, but I actually really enjoy Pan. It's not good. It's not good. I'm
gonna leave that there.
It's a fun time. Okay. If I'm like feeling a little jolly, you know, with my spicy guacamole, and I just want to watch something ridiculous, I watch that. It's not a good movie by any means, but he's a fun time in it. That's all I gotta say. I liked him also in you know, but I liked him in Triple Frontier. I liked him in Mudbound. Okay. You know, so you know, but I mean, I don't want him in this movie, but I like him overall. Yeah, I hear you. And also Four Brothers. Gotta love Four Brothers.
Wow. Okay. All right.
What?
Yeah, no.
No.
Four Brothers is so frustrating because it's based on one of my favorite westerns, The Sons of Katie Elder. And B, I just think it's not some of Singleton's best work. No offense to the late, great John Singleton, but it's not my jam. It's just not my jam. Some of it is a little too cheesy, especially that basketball scene when they're at the high school. I was like, oh, come on, man. Cut it out.
No, it's not a great movie.
That's what I'm getting at. It's not a great movie.
But still, I just thoroughly love that movie. That's a mother-daughter movie. Please,
no. I'm not going to stop you from liking it. Please like the movie.
It's also sentimental because it's like I said, it's a mother-daughter movie.
Yeah, respect. We all got those. Yeah. This just in, Jared Leto has put his conscience into a computer to prepare for the role.
I feel like he'd be that person to try to figure out how it could happen. Like he would try to do research into that.
Yeah, he would throw a virus into something just to see what would happen. Some people supporting you on Four Brothers. Some people, Andrew G says Four Brothers is so awesome. But right? Zeno Hour on my side, it is not good. But Haskell is on your side. There you go. He says, so good. I watched it the other day again. So there you go. And Saad SQ says, blasphemy for me to bash Four Brothers. So I apologize for you all.
You should.
So there you go. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. We had some Streamlabs that have come through. Let me address them right now. Let's see. Ryan Payne donated. Thank you, Ryan. It's very kind of you. He said, I strongly suggest B99 gets back on the air, Brooklyn 99. If you go back to its first 3 seasons, the show strongly criticizes and deconstructs the hero cop myth through its main character, and Andre Braugher is incredible in his performance. I thoroughly agree. One of the reasons I enjoyed Brooklyn Nine-Nine for as long as I did is, it has 2 Latina leads in the ensemble cast. Awesome. You have Andre Braugher, you have Terry Crews, you have, I know Andy Samberg is great, Jake, but he's he's a bit of a dummy sometimes. So it's like everyone else is really good. You got the 2 older cops. Tom, I forget the other guy's name, the goofy guy who's always trying to be on Jake. He's like the chef.
I love him.
Yeah. It was a great crew. Chelsea Peretti. That's a great crew of actors, and they always told multi-dimensional storylines. They always told diverse storylines. So I always appreciated that. Stephanie Beatrice, Melissa Fumero, two two actresses I thoroughly enjoy in that show, Latina actresses. They're great on the show. So I get that Brooklyn Nine-Nine had to take a little bit of a hiatus and go back and look at these scripts and redo them, but they're not one of these shows that you look at that is like somehow ignoring the perils that cops can get into. You know, they kind of point some stuff out, and they do good. This is the thing, you don't get it twisted that there aren't good policemen out there. There are policemen and women out there. There certainly are. And certainly Brooklyn Nine-Nine does a great job of like showcasing some of the bumbling situation of being a policeman, but also some of the good you can do. So yeah, I agree. It's certainly one of those favorites. What about you? Do you enjoy this show as well?
It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I
There we
love
go.
it. To me, hot take, it's actually better than Parks and Rec or The Office.
Now you've said something wrong.
No, it's just
Now you've said something wrong. There's nothing better than Parks Rec.
No, I love Parks Rec. No, I love Parks. I do. I love Parks Rec. I do. And
okay,
I do. The thing is, it's just Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it just hit me at a time where I was just like, I didn't know what to expect going in.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's almost like a Trojan horse story where you watch a trailer for it or something like that, and you're like, oh, it's about this cool, white guy cop in Brooklyn as, detective, and it's only gonna be funny. Okay. But it's actually really focused on, the Captain Holtz, who's, a gay police officer and has been an open out, not only a gay man, but obviously like a black man, a black gay man in the precinct and everything. Not only that, but like you said, with the two Latina leads, there's so much focus on them, and they have great chemistry together. And not to mention, I love how, and Terry Crews, he's breaking down this idea of toxic masculinity. He's embracing not only being a really wonderful father, but a really wonderful husband at the same time. He's like, they're acknowledging their mistakes and everything in a show like this. Especially, I feel like that's very difficult to really put so much greatness in one show, and where everyone is amazing.
Yeah, and everyone gets highlighted. Everyone gets their chance to shine. Everyone's storylines are like given the proper amount of due and time, which I personally appreciate. When you look at some other ensemble shows, some of them get lost in the mix. They don't get quite as as much time as other things do. So I'm absolutely down with this. I love this idea, and I hope it does work out in a positive direction for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because it could be one of these shows that is one that people point to and go, see, diversity does work. If you do it right, if you get the right creators involved, if you get the right people involved, it can thoroughly work. You just have to know what to do with it. That's for sure. So we shall see as it goes along. Alex, I'm prepping something here. We have breaking news, the Game Across deadline. I just got a notice about it. This is going to be very interesting. We should talk about it. Let me bring up the logo here. But thanks for that Streamlab there. And let me bring up the logo, and let me do one more Streamlab before I jump into this thing.
Okay.
That is from Andrew G. I'm very interested to see if and how this Tron turns out. I actually love Legacy and how they rebuilt that world. I do too, Andrew. If you love Tron, for sure, check out Tron Uprising animated series. As I said, very unique and very well done, highly underrated, and only lasted one season. Yeah. The reason it only lasted one season is the ratings weren't that high and they weren't selling toys, and I years ago interviewed Phil Lamar for one of my earlier podcasts. And he spoke about that show that he did where he was a black superhero. The reason they took that show down, even though everybody loved it, is because they weren't selling toys. That's such a big part of animated series, is being able to sell toys or sell products attached to it. So with Tron Uprising, I think the same thing happened to Tron Uprising, the combo of that. Tavishka sent in some stuff here real quick. Sent you information on the SCOTUS decision for tribal jurisdiction in Oklahoma. What are your thoughts? To clarify, the tribes do not have reservations, but territories. No citizen is losing their land, rights, or vote. Simply natives will try natives. All right, I'll take a look at it, Tavishka. I can't give you a big, strong opinion right now because I haven't read anything too much on it other than the court case decision. I haven't read the details fully. So do you know anything about this, Alex, at all?
I used to live in Oklahoma.
Oh, break it down. Thoughts?
Oh no, I mean, like I don't know. I heard about this, but I don't know a lot of the details about it. But the thing is, I used to live in Enid, Oklahoma, on the military base down there.
Okay.
Vance Air Force Base, coming
right
in
on.
hot. So the amount of Native American territories in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I think there's more territories in Oklahoma than any other state. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I know that might have changed. Maybe it's one of the Dakotas or something as well. But it was really crazy. So I'm not surprised, given just my memory of, just how populated, but a lot of people were in their support now at the time. So again, I don't know the full story. I just based off my memory at the time, and I was very young, obviously.
Okay.
So.
All right. I'll take a look and I'll take a look, and see what Tavishka sent. And Tavishka will do when I take a look at it and read it. I'll definitely have thoughts on it. Maybe even on the Outlaw Nation show tomorrow night. Don't forget, Rachel Cushing is my guest on tomorrow night for the Outlaw Nation show. The Crusher herself. She does not do many live streams, but she said to me, and she was very sweet. She said, "But your show, I will do." So she's very, very kind to come on the show tomorrow night. Maybe we'll talk about that. We'll see how it comes up. But I appreciate you sending that in. Oh yeah, here we go. In it, Oklahoma was mentioned Jurassic Park 3, right? I don't know, Joseph.
I don't know. I've never seen Jurassic Park 3.
That feels like a 5-pointer to me. I
mean, sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, so here's the big news. Bam! This came off a deadline. Star Wars: The Bad Batch, a new animated series, will debut on Disney Plus in 2021. Deadline is reporting this. They ordered its next animated series. It's fresh off of the critically acclaimed series finale of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. If people remember this last season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the first 4 episodes had to deal with the Bad Batch. It follows the elite and experimental clones of the Bad Batch as they find their way in a rapidly changing galaxy in the immediate aftermath of the Clone Wars. Members of the Bad Batch, a unique squad of clones who vary genetically from their brothers in the Clone Army, each possess a singular exceptional skill which makes them extraordinarily effective soldiers and a formidable crew. In the post-Clone Wars era, they will take on daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and to find a new purpose. It will be executive produced by Dave Filoni, Athena Portillo, Brad Rao, and Jennifer Corbett, all with numerous experience in Star Wars Resistance and Star Wars Rebels, with Carrie Beck as co-executive producer. She worked on The Mandalorian, and Josh Rhimes as producer. Rao is also serving as a supervising director, with Corbett as the head writer. So this is exciting news, at least for me. I don't know how you feel about this, Alex, but I love the Bad Batch storyline from Clone Wars this season. So I said after, I think on one of the reviews I did with the Geek Buddies, that I would love to see the Bad Batch get their own animated series, because those are my clones. Those off-kilter, weird, unusual people who kind of step out of the mainstream. Those are the people I gravitate to, and I love the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars. Did you watch this? Do you remember this?
I've never seen them. I've never seen the Clone Wars, but also surprised you're attracted to like the Outlaws, essentially. Wow, unexpected, Rocha. I'm just saying, very
fair.
Out of character for you.
Fair point. Fair point.
I would say I've never seen the Clone Wars. I haven't seen the prequels since college. I think maybe. So it's been a while. So I mean, I think this is awesome. I mean, just because I know my husband, he watched the Clone Wars. He loved it, and I'm so excited for him to kind of check it out.
Yeah,
it's just awesome, cool. If you're into that, fantastic.
Okay.
What I am kind of curious about is if they're going to keep the aesthetic, that kind of computer animated style, which I like. Even as someone that's not, I don't watch the show. I just remember like watching like scenes here and there, and I'm like, just visually, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
it's the aesthetic of it. It's pretty fantastic. So I would like to think that they would really kind of continue with that route.
Yeah, I want to look up real quick who the voices are for the Bad Batch. So. Let me see if I can find, because there's like 7 different things that are Star Wars: The Clone Wars, so you've got to make sure you get the right thing sometimes and find out the right season. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't. Let me see. Production Filoni. Oh, this was the animated film. See, so that's the thing. You click on one. It's like, can I just get to the TV series? Is that possible? There we go. All right. Episode guide. Let's see. Let's go to the last season, The Bad Batch. All right, let's go to the first one here. So it looks like it was D. Bradley Baker, of course, does all the clone troopers. But then I think that's who does all the voices for those Bad Batch guys. So this is interesting. So certainly a lot of work for D. Bradley Baker. He keeps making his money as a voiceover artist. So shout out to him. I'll certainly be working really hard to to get a shot at maybe getting a voice in there. I'm about to move over into a new voiceover agent, so maybe they'll get me in for this one. I'd love to be a part of the Bad Batch storyline or the Bad Batch universe there. I love that on Clone Wars. So, all right, we'll see. What do you guys think? Let us know. Send in some super chats, some Streamlabs. What's your feelings about this? Andrew G said Disney just announced the Bad Batch animated series. Yep, we just talked about it. And then Ryan Payne says, Alex, you're killing me. Watch Clone Wars. There you go.
I am not trying not to watch TV right now. I'm trying to watch movies, my dude. I have a list of movies.
Oh boy, here we go.
I'm trying to, like, I have a new movie list. Okay.
Wow.
New movies of the month. I've watched 10 movies.
Yeah.
I'm doing good so far.
You are doing good for July.
So, I just watched Where the Wild Things Are from 2009 by Spike Jonze for the first time.
Did you like that?
I loved it. I thought it was just so nice. But I'm trying to, my dude, Ryan, priorities. There's a lot of movies I'm trying to catch up on. I haven't seen any movie from the Lethal Weapon franchise. I haven't seen Terminator. I haven't seen Caddyshack or Beverly Hills Cop. Okay. Wow. There's a lot of movies I'm actively trying to work on watching. And
Alex just outing herself.
The thing is, I'm actively working to fix this. And so I hear about the Clone Wars and I'm like, TV is not something I need to watch right now.
Right.
Honestly.
Right. Respect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me, Alex, let's take a quick little promotional break here. What have you got going on? Where can people find what you're doing?
Speaking of Star Wars, I'm going to be hosting a Schmobate themed Star Wars match.
Nice.
Star Wars themed tournament themed Schmobate match. Other way around. It's going to be on Wednesday. It's going to be between Paul Denuzio and Alan Smithy from the General. So it's going to be a real fun time. I'm also actively trying to work on confirming my co-host. Not 100% yet, but it's a work in progress. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to be diving into the movie Dr. No with Video Drew, who's never seen a James Bond movie until I forced her to watch this. So it's going to be really fun to really tie into that as well.
Nice. All right. Well, there you go. Good stuff. Well, here on the Outlaw Nation, you can always follow me at The Rocha Says. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed yet. So many have come aboard over the last few 24 hours. We have Daystrom Institute of Vexillology subscribed, Playground Choosers subscribed, Joshua Bante subscribed, Sergio Vasquez subscribed, Marcos Valentin subscribed, and Jose Joey Caban subscribed. So thank you all so much for coming aboard. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that as well. As I mentioned, tomorrow night, Rachel Cushing will be my co-host, or will be my guest rather, for the Outlaw Nation show. We're going to have a lot of fun. And right now I am working on locking down Christian Harloff for next week. So that is possibly, but that will have to be earlier in the day. The man's a dad, so we got to do it earlier in the day. So it'll be an unusual time for the Outlaw Nation show, but no less fun to have Christian on the show as well. Today, don't forget, at 2 p.m. live, 2 p.m. PT live, got my boys joining me again, Jay Washington and Winston Marshall. We're going to do our thing on Game Time. The Redskins officially changing their name. They announced it this morning. So they will be on to talk about so much of that, but also what is going on in the NBA, what's going on with college football. There's so much to discuss right now that's been happening. Even though no games are being played other than soccer and a couple other places, there's a lot of news dropping, and we've been able to fill our time with those conversations. So join us today at 2 p.m. PT live. And I do want to say I am right now in negotiations with two separate people to drop two new shows here on the Outlaw Nation channel. One will be a bi-weekly show, and one right now might be a weekly or monthly show. I'm not sure yet, but if I can lock down these two people, the announcements I think will be fantastic. It will be a next step forward for the channel itself. And one thing I do want to say, Alex Shashek and I recorded the first episode of one of the new shows that we're doing with patrons involved. It's called The Outlaw Rides Again. Alex and I revisit my first battle between me and Scott Mantz, dropping it tomorrow for everybody to watch. But going forward, it'll be a show that we drop for the patrons on Friday, and then everyone else gets it on Tuesday. But tomorrow we're dropping it all for everybody. It's fun. It's about an hour-long show because the match is about 36 minutes, and Alex and I have a really good time revisiting it. So that's coming tomorrow morning, so look for that. I'll drop at midnight tonight, so look for that as well. All right, I think that's enough promotion for me. Let's move on to our next thing, and I think our next thing, let me look at the rundown here, is, This is going to get some controversy. I already saw people online having issues. Speaking of animated series, Star Trek Lower Decks, they dropped their first trailer for their new animated series that's coming out. Of course, some of you who are old enough to remember, there was a Star Trek animated series that was based on the actual Star Trek first original series characters. That was a lot of fun to watch. It's on Netflix, I think, still, if you want to go and watch it. I'm not sure if it was 2 or 3 seasons, but it was an enjoyable watch. I remember growing up as a kid watching it as well. But this is a completely different take on Star Trek. It's very goofy. It's very, it has like a little bit of gross violence in it. It has sexual jokes. It was a bit unsettling of a trailer to watch. Alex, did you get a chance to watch this thing? Does this doesn't feel like Star Trek? Or do you think like, oh, this is an exciting new thing to do with animated Star Trek? What was your feelings on this?
I've never seen a Star Trek movie, so I can't really, or I never seen the show. Oh wait, scratch that. I have seen the 2009 one. So never scratch that. Forget me. But so I can't really talk about, the legacy of Star Trek or the characters and, history of all that good stuff. But what I can tell you is that, boy, do I love cartoons for, like, I don't like to say cartoons for adults because that sounds really creepy. But I mean, like Big Mouth. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Oh my gosh. A lot of these, animated shows that are really talk about like that are made for adults where they're dark, they're funny, they have weird conversations and everything. And I really, really love it. And so honestly, that would probably, if that's like the route they're going to go in, I'd be like, I would watch this as someone that likes these other shows, with a lot of adult themed conversations. I'd be more excited. As someone that doesn't watch Star Trek, that would get me really excited. If it is going to be very focused like Clone Wars, where you kind of have to know, seeing some of the movies and stuff, it probably wouldn't be for me, considering I'm not a Star Trek person.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. I like the idea of it being a little bit more adult, but I'm a traditionalist sometimes. I'm not as much a traditionalist as Scott Mantz or Robert Meyer Burnett are about Star Trek, but I can be a bit of a traditionalist. And to me, when I watched this trailer, I was a little bit like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this. This seems like, hey, let's be crazy and weird and fun for just for attention. But these are the lower decks people, and we never get much access to the lower decks people because they're usually getting killed or blown up or hurtling through space after the ship gets shot by a Klingon or by the Romulans or whoever's involved, the Borg, all of that. So this is an unusual approach. We'll see if it catches on. Somebody mentioned in the chat it's got a Rick and Morty vibe to it. I could see that as well. So we'll see. I expected something completely different. So it was interesting. I don't know if it's going to work, but maybe it's made for the younger generation who enjoys this kind of stuff. Alex just said, like, it's got that kind of more of an adult cartoon vibe. And so I'm curious to see if it catches on. But what do you all think? Were you all able to watch it? Were you all able to give it a gander? Do you like this idea? Do you like the way they're approaching this Star Trek animated series? Let us know in the chat. Send in the Streamlabs or Super Chat as well. Holy shit. Calvin, are you up this early? Calvin. Oh my God. Calvin never pops in on mornings.
One thing, that's a very dick thing to say. But also, so whatever. Okay.
Calvin.
It's not my husband's job to tell me what I should watch.
Yeah. Who said that? That's
someone
stupid.
else in the chat, but whatever.
Jesus, that's dumb as
he's
shit.
not doing his job or something.
Don't say that, man.
Yeah. So that's a dick move.
Yeah. You definitely don't have a girlfriend who could say something like that.
When it gets like that's the whole purpose of me participating in a show like Cinema Bias, where you really dive into our biases about movies. Like I grew up with my parents watching a lot of the same movies. Like a father-daughter movie is V for Vendetta, Silence of the Lambs, American Psycho. Awkwardly, those are fathers. I know those movies inside and out. So there's a lot. I probably watched the same 100 movies growing up, but I know those movies so well. It's obnoxious. And so that's why I'm making these movie lists to really play catch up, honestly. I acknowledge that. So it's like a work in progress. So, it's a matter of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everyone comes to them. People think you're 100 years old. Like everything comes in time, like I'm saying Alex is not 100 years old. Like she hasn't watched everything. Everything comes to things, people come to the movies in time. And I like the fact I'm jealous that you're, or envious rather, that you're like walking down this path and discovering these movies that a lot of us have seen numerous times. You're seeing it for the first time. So it's a great experience. It's a great path. We all walk the path. So it's fantastic. So it should be something celebrated, not denigrated. It should be something people get excited about, not give you shit about. So cut it out, guys. Cut it out. Because I bet I could walk into all your houses or go into all your brains and find 10 to 20 movies that you haven't watched that you should have watched by now. So turn that judgment back on yourself and start watching the movies you should have been watching or holding off on watching, or that are sitting in your Netflix queue for the last 4 years and you still haven't watched. So,
Yeah. But also at the same time, again, having those movie biases are completely natural, and they're, everyone has them, whether we think about it or not. Maybe like, obviously, Rocha, someone in your situation, considering your job, it's literally your job to watch movies outside your wheelhouse.
True.
Maybe like, I know, like, like people like Clark Wolf, where, obviously she's known as like the horror thriller, writer, critic, all that good stuff. At the same time, she talks about all the time how she's constantly actively watching movies outside her wheelhouse to make herself more well-rounded. And so I think, so that's something that, watching movies outside of our personal biases is just so important for us as film watchers, just to not only make us more rounded as individuals, but also as critics, as watchers and everything as well. Because if you're watching movies outside your wheelhouse, then you're learning from a new point of view and different kind of character ideas and all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well said, Alex. Ryan Payne here said, Alex, I will personally send you the DVD copies I have of Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop, and Coming to America. Own them. If you don't have the time. And you shouldn't be sending DVD copies, son. You want people to enjoy a movie, you send the Blu-ray or the 4K copy, but these things are streaming as well on numerous streaming services. So, but it's a very kind offer, Ryan, I'm sure. It's just that there are better versions of those to watch. And then Alex just said she owns them already. So she's just getting around to them. Yeah.
I just don't like, I don't like having DVDs in my house. I understand the reason why. It makes complete sense. It's just like Lucas and I were actively trying to do some move and potentially do some stuff right now, and so it's like we're trying to get rid of stuff, so we don't want physical media all that much,
Right. Understood. Guys, we're at 125 likes. Get us over 150 likes. We got 170 you all watching us live. Please get us up to 150 likes before we wrap up here in the next 15 minutes. So give it some room. Yeah, Tamishka, get out of my head, Rocha. Oh, no. I'm putting up stakes. In there all the time. All right, let's move on to one of our final stories here, Alex. And please, let's remind people, please hit that like button, people. Please hit that like button. I can't say it enough. All right, let's move on to Charlize Theron. She gave an interview here recently, and she was talking about Atomic Blonde 2, the rumors of a sequel. She said she was talking to Total Film about it. She said, we took Atomic Blonde 2 to them, the studio, and Scott Stuber, who's the head of the original films at Netflix, and they were really interested in it. So it might be going the Netflix route. We talked to him about it extensively, and we're in the process of writing it right now. That character was a setup in a way where she didn't really reveal much of herself. So I feel like there's a lot of potential there. The bar is pretty high, but we're excited about it. So it seems like Netflix might be the next place we see an Atomic Blonde 2. So many people really wanted to see this thing. With Old Guard coming out, it seems to be doing well with the audiences overall. This seems to make sense. You establish a relationship with Netflix, and that's the way to go. Let me see if I've got it. Theron didn't elaborate on any specific plot details or returning cast members for the sequel. She did give this brief but spicy update, according to THR. We're in the development stages right now, and that's the one thing that lockdown has been good for, being able to develop with writers over Zoom. So we're actively developing an Atomic Blonde sequel right now. That's awesome as hell. She also talked about the Furiosa situation with Anya Taylor-Joy, potentially, or Jodie Comer from Killing Eve, potentially playing an earlier version of Imperator Furiosa. She said it's a tough one to swallow. Listen, I fully respect George Miller, who's the director of those Mad Max films, if not more so in the aftermath of making Fury Road with him. He's a master, and I wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, it's a little heartbreaking for sure, because I really love that character. So two things there. I mean, Atomic Blonde 2, Alex, this seems like an exciting thing for me, at least. I don't know how you felt about the first one. To see a sequel, Netflix makes so much sense. I mean, that Chris Hemsworth Extraction film did so well, and it was great to watch in that version. Atomic Blonde doesn't have to be a cinematic film. I mean, to watch in the cinema, you can certainly enjoy it on your TV. So do you think a sequel here would work on Netflix? Do you like the idea of a sequel to this movie?
As long as I get an Atomic Blonde 2, I am very happy. I saw The Old Guard yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And I loved it. It's so much fun, and I love the history aspect of it. Me being like I'm really into like ancient history, and I was just like, this is really cool. They typed this, and she's like 6,000 years old, and I was like, it was so great. Awesome. And these characters met during the Crusades. So good. But it was fantastic. So obviously to have a really good working relationship, with Charlize Theron at this time. I don't know, because I know she's actively involved with like the pitching of the movie and everything to different studios and everything. And I love that because I think she was a producer or some kind of role on the first one, but she's one of those people like kind of very similar to like Margot Robbie, where she's taking active control of her career, being involved in behind the scenes of these productions, and I love that. And she's definitely underrated, and I've heard a lot of people compare her to like Liam Hemsworth, where he's really been, as an actor, I don't like to say like refurbished or anything, but she's like come back, and everyone
like a renaissance.
Reminded how amazing Charlize Theron.
Sure.
Let's run with that, because she's so amazing in these kind of action adventure roles that we've seen her in.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a super chat here. Eric Stevens says, all in for Atomic Blonde 2. I think the first one is underrated. Charlize was great, and the fight choreography punched above its weight. Absolutely. I mean, I would put that fight on the stairs, all down the stairs, like that whole fight. I would put that in the argument with anything from The Raid. I would put that in the argument with anything from any of those Batman series, anything from Tony Jaa, anything from any Jackie Chan. That fight sequence is incredible. Why? Because it's almost all one take, and it's completely believable that by the end of that fight, they are out of breath, barely standing. All of it felt so real. I thought it was brilliant. And Charlize put herself through the ringer to get that right. And so she deserves all the respect in the world. And you're right, Alex. Also, when I interviewed Jay Roach for the what's the Bombshell? Is that the name of the film with the for Bombshell? We talked about his process with Charlize Theron and how she developed scripts and develops. She is involved from the beginning in this process. She's not like aggressively over involved like Edward Norton used to be. She is involved in shepherding these things to fruition. She shepherded Bombshell to fruition, talked to Jay Roach, and in fact encouraged Jay Roach to direct the film. He was just involved as a consultant or as a possible co-writer, and then she eventually chose him to direct the film. She knew he had the right sensibility. So she's involved in these stages from beginning to end. Incredibly smart, intelligent woman, driven, good businesswoman, and makes good projects and good products. So to me, I'm excited to see what she would do with Atomic Blonde 2, and to hear her say that she's using Zoom to like work out these things and talk about story beats and flesh these films out. That's exciting as well.
Yeah, I do. I can't wait for more of it. I think she's fabulous in every single way. I think someone put in the chat the Theronaissance. I'm like, thank you, MK Songford, for clarifying. Theronaissance, absolutely.
Theronaissance, yeah, there you go.
I mean, one of the so going over to, I love we're getting so much information about Atomic Blonde 2. However, we're also getting more information about like her response to being, I don't want to say passed up, but but George Miller's like, Furiosa is such an amazing, badass female character.
Right.
Let's not keep Charlize Theron, who is actually badass and everything. Let's make her younger, and that's the direction they wanted to go with. Yeah. So I'm a little sad they kind of did that. And I know Charlize Theron, she loves the character Furiosa, and she is arguably the best part of that movie. She is the main character of Max Fury Road. So hence, the name, crazy, right? On one hand, I'm heartbroken not to see another Mad Max Furiosa movie. Yeah. On the other hand, I'm like, I love Atomic Blonde, so it's kind of weird, you know, having one of them do amazing, one of them really kind of fall through like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that's tough about the Furiosa story. If we switch to that one, as you mentioned here, Alex, because you're like, well, no, I get it. You know, you want to continue with this character. She kind of has her resolution at the end of Fury Road because she comes back to take over that enclave. But that doesn't mean you can't still continue that storyline and do a sequel where you're just focusing on her and her leading that crew and who comes to attack that civilization so that she can defend and fight back and encourage, and who's betraying her. You know, it could be a whole situation there where it's a bit of a war film, a post-apocalyptic war film. That could be fun. That could be awesome. A battle film. That could be incredible and has nothing to do with Mad Max. It's more of a spin-off movie like Hobbs and Shaw was from Fast and Furious. You could do that. So going backwards to a prequel concerns me because you're like, well, she becomes in Parents and Joe's or what is it? Whatever. She becomes basically his main assassin, his main fighter. So are we going to see her become enslaved to this guy and do badass stuff? But she's doing badass stuff for an evil guy. So why do we want to get a prequel on Furiosa? Because her story was better told when she broke away from a guy who was controlling her and trying to tell her what to do. And yeah, we'll see how she got her arm cut off. But like, what is that? Does that really enrich what we're going to watch? And so I'd rather see a sequel, like you said, with Charlize Theron going forward that picks up where Fury Road left off, rather than seeing a prequel with Jodie Comer. I mean, Jodie Comer would be great. I would take her over Anya Taylor-Joy at this point for that character. But it would be interesting to see that process. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they do with it, but I'd rather see her continue with the role because she kicked ass in that role.
100%. I mean, you hit the nail right on the coffin. I really want to see more of her character. I understand the perspective they're trying to do, but also from a plot point of view, you know, they resolved her character. She had this really great ending, so I can understand that point of view. But yeah, I don't know if I want to see so much an origin story of her character or like how she lost her arm, because a lot of that mystery is what made me love her. You know, like, did we need to, you know, do we need like to find out about the shape from Halloween? Do we need to find the origins of a baby Jaws? You know, no. We don't need a baby Bruce. You know, he's crazy and badass the way it is. Okay, we just don't need it. So, and I kind of apply that mindset to Furious a little bit. Do
we need to see Nick Fury's eye getting scratched out by a cat? Do we really need to see that? No.
That's the direction they went with.
Yeah. Do we need to see? Do we need to watch Hot Tub Time Machine and keep wondering when Crispin Glover's arm is going to get cut off? No, there's no need for it. So to me, I agree. You can do it in flashback. You could do it in a quick flashback scene. In the future, cast somebody to play her as a younger version and have her arm cut off. There you go. And you're done with that situation and move on with the sequel. So, yeah, I'm kind of bummed for her, too, because I think she'd be great in it. But and I hope to God this isn't Hollywood going, well, she's kind of old. We don't want to have her. When you're giving Liam Neeson, who's approaching 80, a bunch of action films to do, you sure as hell can give Charlize Theron a sequel to Mad Max Fury Road and watch her kick ass in that film as well. So I hope that's not the reason, for God's sakes. I hope that's not the reason. All right. Oh, Alex, a little compliment about your hair here. Man says Alex's hair is on point this morning. There you go, Matthew Dawson.
Literally woke up this way.
Oh, really? Okay, Alex. Yeah. All right. Oh, this whole thing, I just threw this on.
You know.
Right. Oh, this is a good one, James Carr. Do we really need to see how Willy Wonka met the Oompa Loompas? No, we don't. The Oompa Loompas are there.
We also got it in Charlie the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, which I hate.
Travesty.
Yeah, I agree with you. Absolutely. All right. Well, we're out of time, Alex. We got to wrap up here. We got 3 minutes left in the show, so we might as well wrap up now. Let me see. Where do we get on likes? Did we get past 150? 137. Come on, guys. In the next 3 minutes, give us 13 more likes to get us over 150 before we wrap up. Alex, please swing that mouse over there. Hit that thumbs up button. That's the like button. Hit that thumbs up button. All right, Alex, tell people where they can find you and what you got going on here as we wrap up, please.
Heather, right there. Right there on Twitter at @real_AlexMag. I'm also part of the Call to Action crew. Search on YouTube Call to Action podcast or on audio form because I talk a lot, obviously. And you can find me on podcast form or just on the other Call to Action podcast as well. I do a bunch over there. Like I mentioned with Schmobates, it is my Schmodown themed debate show where we argue and battle to the death on all things Schmodown. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday, we're going to be having a Star Wars tourney themed debate match between two really great, huge Star Wars fans. So it's going to be really fun. But also cinema bias. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of movies, admittedly, I have not seen. A lot of classics. I saw Citizen Kane for the first time a few weeks ago. Oh. And, I saw like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and, a lot of these movies I would have never seen unless it was for the show I'm a part of with cinema bias. So I really love being part of that and really watching movies outside my wheelhouse for sure.
There you go.
Although, if I didn't have someone over my shoulder to get me to watch these movies, it wouldn't happen. I'm not gonna lie. So sometimes I need that push.
A little bit of a
sometimes, not always, but sometimes.
A nudge. Some would say. Yeah, that's good to go. Well, there you go. Well, follow Alex on everything she does. Watch her everything she's got going on. She's building and building and building. That's fun to watch it happen, and I'm honored. I'm always honored to have her on the show. So you guys can find me at the Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. If you haven't followed me yet on social media, feel free to do so. You can also subscribe to the channel. That really helps out too. We crossed 13,005. We're marching towards 13,006. Let's get to 15,000 as soon as we can. That really helps kind of build up the numbers. And of course, please hit that like button. Get us over 150. I think we're almost at 150 right now. Oh, we crossed it. Yes. 150 likes. Thank you so much, everybody. And if you're watching this after we record it live, and a lot of you do, please leave a comment down below as well. Any comments you leave, the amount of comments you leave, it helps raise the visibility of this show and this channel in the algorithm of YouTube. So give it some love there as well. Don't forget, 2 p.m. PT today live. Game time is on me, Jay Washington, and Winston Marshall talking about everything that's going on in the world of sports for a couple hours. We haven't been bringing people in live, and it might be time to start doing that near the end of the show. So we might start doing that today again for a little bit. Some people have been clamoring for the fact that we have been doing that, so we will try and do that as well. All right, take care of yourselves. Be well. It's a Monday. Take little steps to start marching towards yourself having a great week. Little steps can lead to bigger steps, so do that today and take care of yourself. Wear your mask. Be safe. Wash your hands. See people who aren't wearing masks and walk the other direction or walk across the street, for God's sakes. Be careful and take care of yourself. Any last words there, Alex?
I woke up this way and wear a mask.
All right, there you go.
Wear a mask. Come on, guys.
And we'll be back on Friday with a brand new episode of Mornings with the Outlaw. Take care of yourselves. Until then.